Hi, Radagast.
Hi.
Oh, wow. This is going to be really impromptu, isn't it?
Quite.
Right, I know.
Well,
Okay,
since you have your cigarette, I'll have my cigarette.
go for it, darling. I mean, one needs to smoke in times like these. This is in honor of Standing Rock, okay? Right? We're going to have some
Yes.
echo with them right now. I've actually yeah. I mean, honestly,
Yeah, I mean, we're not pulling cigarettes out of a Marlboro pack here.
hell no. Hell no. Yeah, listen, we started talking, I think we were 2 minutes into talking, and I think we're both fired up about the subject right now. And we just said, let's record something because our voices are going to be heard. And it's, you were just telling me about Beth, Mary Beth?
Yeah, Mary Beth, one of our people in Global Mission of Peace, but most importantly, a sister and a grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, even within our own Global Mission of Peace group, we now have our group called the Grandmothers, and they're prepared to work with the organization or by themselves, but boy, they are dedicated. And Mary Beth is on fire as far as she's concerned. It is time for women to step up. Even the native grandmother, she was missing there. They were saying it's our time. The men need to just step back, give us space, protect us, make sure that our voices are safe to be heard.
Okay.
But we have a direction. We have the message. And anybody who knows me and how I feel about Sophia,
Okay.
I really believe that the grandmothers are feeling the dream. They're feeling the call to represent. I mean, we all hear it, but the women have been either kept down or inflated into this feminist synthetic woman.
Okay, so let me take this in. Okay, we're talking about what's happening up in North Dakota.
Yes, I'm sorry, I got off. Thank you.
I know. Okay, just I'll do the thing about it because you'll see me. I am a grandmother and I am a Sophia. All right, no holds back. I'm fired up. Matter of fact, the quote that I have: "She is mad, and she is beautiful, but she has no lies in her fire." And I want to get this message out with you, Radagast, because, man, the last time we recorded something, we were talking about Sophia.
Yeah.
So we're talking about what's going on there. And we're talking about the fact that the people that need to hear this message the most we're not getting through to them. We're not. And I don't know what we're going to do, actually, what this conversation will take hold here. But please tell me about what Mary Beth's doing up there. She's been there for how long?
She's been there for about 2 weeks now. So every night she's part of drumming. She's been embraced. The grandmothers have sensed her. They have felt her, and they have pulled her in like a clan mother.
Good. Okay, so we're the power people. All right. I want to say that we are the power. Nothing happens on this planet without the consent of the masses of the people. And so I'm right there with it. I hear drumming in my head night and day. I hear the road of tears waking up. And this is the flows of real life on this planet. And it is time that people stand up with us and listen. We cannot keep doing this. And this place at Standing Rock for me, has become a metaphor as well as a reality. I am a rock. I am standing in my truth. Nothing will move me out of that. And so these are my words that I'm speaking them to you, and I know you understand them. But the reason we're recording this is I feel we need to express.
Well, what was beautiful is apparently they set up a teepee along one of the where bulldozers might come. And they went inside and immediately were doing ceremony. Mm-hmm. And Mary Beth said that, security and police were surrounding them. There were some security or police people who had put their hands on the poles and had bowed their head to join into the prayer.
Awesome. Awesome.
That really touched me because, even within You know, even within hired muscle, what is happening here? The Earth, Mother Earth, protecting our water, protecting what was actually, these are our rights. I mean, what is staring us in the face is the whole synthetic matrix that has been put over, where we were all given this planet. We were put on this planet, and it was created for us. It was created with clean water. There isn't a whole lot of clean water left.
No,
But the water that isn't fouled needs to be left free for us to go. And this is for the Bacon tar sands. This is a pipeline that comes out of the fracking in Canada. So they're destroying the groundwater, the aquifers up in Canada. And now we're going to take this pipeline and put it under another source of water. I mean, the water in the ground, the water that flows, that's our water. Water is life. The percentage of water we have, that water, and this water holds the memory of our ancestors, the memory of the earth, just as we pass the memory of our ancestors through the water that gets exchanged from all of our cellular material. So the fact that there were hired muscle that actually felt they wanted to be a part of the prayers. Apparently, they would probably like to be relieved of duty and say the injunction was lifted. So apparently, if anything, they were probably asking for forgiveness, that they are in this place doing this work for something that they obviously consider unholy, and it is unholy.
Did they get any footage of it?
She said she'll have some pictures later. I mean, what I did, she called me on the phone. I held it up to the microphone like that, put up my avatar until the end.
Okay.
And then when she got into call, I made some kind of, relatively impassioned.
Right. So this is a great representation of what we can do. And it is down to the feminine right now. It is the female on the planet. And, we have to stop being jerked around and having our attention driven to places that have no meaning anymore. You're right, it's a matrix, it's crumbling, it's coming down, friends. It's going to come down, and even whatever might happen in North Dakota, all right, it will have repercussions everywhere. And I think one woman, 2, 3, and with the men supporting, we will start to change this peacefully in the bountiful abundance of this planet. All you people, and I'm going to talk to the people that maybe might hear this for the first time. You are so compromised to the almighty dollar. You have made the dollar your God. Yes. And you will not retract your consent from the system. It's time to stand down. And, if we don't stand down from the system and stand up in sovereignty, then whatever repercussions happen on the planet are on all of our hands. All of us. Yes. The blind, the asleep, the compromised, and the new age, what do you want to call them? The new age.
Audience. The new age audience.
Audience, okay? Right? You're still not getting it, people. You're not getting it. And I am as fired up as I've ever been.
It's time for the audience to truly try to work to be a community.
Yes.
Communities work together. They're not just there for entertainment.
Let's go into communion with Mother Earth. Mother Earth has all the answers. She is an eminent being here. She is the light in matter. And if we don't start taking our sacred duty, really, we were put here, yes, to learn, to grow, to have all of these experiences. But if we keep raping our earth, there are going to be huge prices to pay. Or as Claudia said, if you want to stay in ignorance, it's going to bite you in the ass. Little steps, whatever it takes. Well, if you're not quite sure yet and you're still locked in, just make one step. What were you saying, Radagast? Like, write a congressman, Go out on your community. Talk to the checkout people at the grocery store that are selling poison. Do your part. All right, we all have a part to play in this, don't we?
Yes, and also spread the word. The little coverage this has gotten has been, they talk about, you know, the Native Americans are wielding tomahawks and they're dangerous. They're spreading this to scare the people, to turn them against the people who are standing there. There are no tomahawks. When they had chanupas, sacred pipes in their hands, the people reported they approached us menacingly with pipes in their hands to make it sound like they had lead pipes or something.
Okay, and this is saying that okay, there is another video. I'll put the link at the bottom of this one, all right? A beautiful man, I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name right now, all right? So much in his grace and his, with all these police around him. We have a militarized police force, private security, and federal agents intimidating a peaceful group of people.
Right.
All right. And they're saying that they were threatened by a pipe. I mean, these people are fully armed, body jacket, full on armor with dogs.
Yes.
And a lot of them are paid people. Okay. And they're working with our government to put this down. It's insane. It's insane.
They don't understand. I mean, these people are standing up for, this is about all of us. This is about preserving life, preserving the earth. I mean, these people, I understand they have to feed their family, but what kind of earth are you bringing to your children and your grandchildren? This is not thinking ahead. I mean, I understand living paycheck to paycheck, but that's in ways, that is the almighty dollar. That's the worship of money over the worship of the Creator. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one thing to think about, well, it's paycheck to paycheck, but there's more future to this. There is the continuation of life, and there's what kind of planet are your children and your grandchildren going to inherit? Right. And I needed to put food on the table, really going to explain why. I mean, and the other thing, I mean, is being a guard really the only skill that God gave you? The ability to stand there in opposition? I think God distributes skills a little better than that.
Right. So, I was having a conversation, like with my mother, because she's the closest to me that I can, give these feelings and these realities and these truths to somebody who's still locked in. She admires Gandhi. I mean, she's like, Gandhi's like her, a great role model. And I go, then be Gandhi. All right. We all have to be Gandhi. This is not the time that one person's going to change this. Not enough people took note when they had a chance. And that goes back to World War I, World War II, and right to the day we are. All right. And while this is happening in the United Ass of America, I'm sorry, I'm just so upset. But, there are tax dollars, your dollars, that are ripped off from you by an illegal system are actually decimating another people across the world, which are the Syrians. So, yes. But what I got, this morning so clear was we measure our lives in cost, right? So people are on paychecks, they're doing all these jobs, and they're buying cheap food, harmful food, GMOs, pesticide-laden, Roundup ready, they're getting vaccines, and they're going to a medical system that is the leading cause of death in the United States, all right? What's the cost to you personally? See, this is where it's personal, yes, but also then we have to look out beyond that, like you're saying. It's like my little selfish personal life, and I can't make it, and I don't know what I'm going to do if I unplug from the system. You don't have any idea yet what if you start to unplug from this unlawful, shameful death cult that the Sophia, the mother of all abundance that created all this life on this planet, is ready to hand you. You have to open those gates. You have to open those channels. You know, people get locked in their heads, Radagast. They go, oh, I don't know. How are we going to do it without that? I really don't know. You know, really, you don't? You're really that not capable of seeing how to put food in your mouth and put your arms around somebody close to you and come together in a community and start bartering and trading? You're not capable of that? You see, that's so simple. It's so simple. You know, every community in everywhere right now has people fully capable to do homeopathy, grow herbal. I mean, we have the whole pharmacopoeia of the mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we're moving into an energetic reality right now. You know, but if you stay plugged in, what's driving it? What's behind it? Fear.
Yes.
Fear. All right. And in the name of fear, we are allowing the destruction of this so awesome place that once you get in touch with it, I don't have words for her. I cry.
We have allowed the destruction of our freedom. I mean,
everything.
One of the most amazing things that was said right after the Constitutional Convention, a woman asked Ben Franklin, what kind of government do we have? He said, a republic, if you can keep it.
Yeah. Until about 1913, I think it was.
Well, even Thomas Jefferson was already speaking about the threat that banks were more dangerous than a standing army.
Yep. And, you know, these are things that we call them the founding fathers, you know. You know, so they're the founding fathers, all right? But what is the fathers, let's call it coding or obligation? What is a real father? Or we talked about mothers. What is a father? You know, he holds a safe place.
Yes.
For the flourishing of the new birth. Okay, this is what we're talking about. We can take this picture out from there to here to here. Nothing is unknown here. Everything is a resonance of something else. Okay. I stopped recording for a minute. Yeah, I'm gonna like my energy right now. Okay, I'm gonna really bring it right here to the ground. And what is going on today at Standing Rock?
Well, as I think, I'm not sure if I already said it, the injunction that was holding up construction was lifted.
By the federal government?
Yeah, I believe it was the federal government. In the court system. In the
legal criminal court system?
In the spider web of the legal system.
Yeah, in the entrapment factor. Okay.
Yes, and so apparently they have begun laying pipe, like immediately, they got the word, okay, boys, get back to work. And
you said something to me about there's numerous companies right now, so people aren't really quite sure who's responsible for what.
Well, yes, apparently the strategy they have employed is to have multiple companies do portions of the work. So this way here, if somebody goes after a company and manages to hold them up in court, another company that isn't being held up can move in.
Okay. Subcontracting. I mean, contracts. What's coming to me right now, Radagast, is that, this is a tactic. And what they really want to do is provoke a violent act.
Yes.
And so they have all the reason to come in and make a mass slaughter. And they will. Okay, anybody remember Wounded Knee?
Well, that's what they're trying to prevent. That's why they do remember Wounded Knee.
Yeah, okay. So for anybody that's listening, Russell Mean, Leonard Peltier, is he still in jail, by the way?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. So they actually won in the negotiations with the government, right, over that. But it turned into a bloodbath, all right? The U.S. government brought in snipers, provoked shots, and had every justification they could for killing these people or putting them in jail. Mm-hmm. So we're back at that right now, but we're back at that place with a lot more consciousness. But you're right. This isn't even getting on the news, is it?
No, it isn't. And the little coverage it gets is distorted. Now, another thing Mary Beth told me is what they did was they closed a major route that none of them use. None of the protectors, they all use dirt roads. They stay off the main roads.
Right.
So what they're doing is they've closed the main road to upset the local people, because this is going to inconvenience them, telling them the reason they're doing it is because of the protectors.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they manipulate public opinion, by creating a situation that has nothing to do with the situation. They create it and then blame the other people. So this way here, and knowing the basic temperament, at least currently, of the American people, oh, I'm being inconvenienced, they're evil for inconveniencing me. Right. You know, bad Native Americans standing up for our water. It cost me miles in gas.
God, I mean, this doesn't even make sense economically. Gas and petroleum is at such a low price right now, and fracking is a hugely expensive operation. All right, so not only does it not make sense ecologically, we're committing ecocide by killing off our planet, it doesn't even make sense financially. And I'm really wondering, what's the underlying agenda here? All right,
to hurt the earth. Exactly. This is demonically driven.
Yeah.
There's two things operative. If they destroy the water, Nestle's gets to sell it to you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so there's that. But most importantly, the people really behind all this, the ones who are really driving it, have a deep-seated hatred of the planet and the sacred feminine, a hatred for it. Mm-hmm. And they have a hatred for all of those who feel any affinity for the planet. This is demonic and hate-driven. There is no need. This is purposely despoiling what is holy, what we need for life. I mean, really, it's not even, it's at the point where you can see that it almost doesn't make economic sense. And so that's why you asked, what else would drive this? Hate.
Right. So, oh God. Right. And this brings us to another topic. It's a perfect segue into it. It's something that I'm studying right now and working on. And I know how the thought patterns work of the normal people. You do too. I was once one, all right? I was once in need of my own paycheck, and how am I going to keep a roof over my head and have any pleasure at all, And so what's going on here is an insanity of insanities, because also right now, side by side, which another thing that nobody's reporting and most people are not aware of, all the technology for free energy is available on this planet right now. Mm-hmm. Right? This is the other revolution that's happening. And it's happening in people's basements, in their garages, and in their households.
Yes.
And we are going to continue with that. So this standing rock is like a vortex or a point that's driving us into a certain amount of consciousness if we can get it out there. If we can use this, and I don't mean use it because I'm not using the people involved, but if we can make this a focal point, because within this single event is everything playing out.
Well, I also would like to think of this as a way of unveiling. People sometimes call the global controllers the elite. And I would like to dispel that. The suppression of all of these inventions did not come from them. Those who control it actually have very little creativity. Mm-hmm. All of this stymied creativity came from us, we, the sovereign people, the people who are giving them our power. Mm-hmm. They are holding back what we created. I mean, we have to start getting the insanity of this few standing between us. They create nothing. I mean, at one point, if you go back long enough, sometimes I even think it ties into some of the breakaway civilization. I think when you go back to some of the early elite families, they were chemists, they were anthropologists, scientists, inventors. And now, what do you have? You have bankers and rich people with zero talent. And all the talent comes from us. I mean, when they have a board meeting, do they come up with the ideas? No, they bring the idea people in who happen to be us.
Right.
And then they pick out the idea that they like best. There is no creativity at this level. These people are cut off from source. There's just enough to keep them alive. But you can, I mean, they're empty vessels. And these are the ones. So we need to, first of all, stop calling them elite. They're nothing more than global controllers. They are the few. And they have no talent other than tyranny and direction. Everything comes from us. The labor, they hold the gold. Who dug it out of the ground? They didn't dig it out of the ground. Who found it? They weren't the engineers who found it. They used us. We find it. I mean, this is a talentless group. These are, I mean, the word parasite is soft for what these people, they bring nothing.
Well, this goes right into, look, we can kind of segue around here, but when we really analyze, and with all the intelligence that's available to us right now, every human on the planet right now is being touched by some new energy, and she's waking up. She's always been here, okay, but it's this time. So there's an intelligence here. And when you can start to tap into it, you now become a part of the whole field. So you have access to all of it. You have access to all of it. So when you look at let's say they're souls, I'm sometimes not sure they're souls, all right? But let's say they're souls, or they're sentient beings, all right? That through a series of choices in their lives have emptied themselves out. They're vacant. They're shells. They have nothing. And all they can do is suck off of us. And we let them, okay? They don't just take our talents. They take our energy and our prayers. They take our money from our pocketbooks. They poison our ground. They steal from us at every given opportunity. And ultimately, we have to say, it's up to us. It isn't like you can just keep going, them. Right? We can't be doing that, because if we keep doing that, they're as happy as can be, because we haven't woken to our inner power yet. We have not withdrawn yet.
Well, the judge who lifted the injunction, is he there preventing people from preventing the trucks from going? No, it's one of us who went to work for them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what this is. This is them giving orders to us that they buy us off. And so here we have people acting against their own interest.
Completely. And they're locked into it. They're in chains. They're literally in chains. There's a saying, people have been saying this in all the religions, we're the hands of God.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Who's our God? Excuse me. Who's your God?
Right.
What's he having you do? And if that's your God, then he's wrathful, vengeful, and he's about destruction. In other words, demonic Satanism.
Right.
There's no way around it. It's like we have to be these sharp, like laser-like focus intent here and see exactly what's happening. Don't get lost in religion. Don't get lost in ideologies. Don't get lost in somebody else's words. Take your own hands and you put them to the place that God, if you want to call it God, I'll call her God right now, okay, is asking. We're nurturers. We're lovers. We are embracers. We are an intelligent species. Why did we give all of that up? For money?
Right. Well, if we take the word Sophia and stop, and even for a moment, not make it the name, make it what it is in Greek. It's wisdom.
It's wisdom.
Make wisdom, serve wisdom. Let wisdom enter into your life.
Okay, let me take that word right now, because one of the things that I've been doing when I'm speaking is I take words, because we say words, wisdom. And most people go, oh, it's wisdom. What is wisdom? So let's talk about what is wisdom.
It is listening to your heart.
And it also is knowledge of a huge amount of things, right? It's an experiential database that has lived through eons of time, Sophia is the ion. She has lived through all these time loops. So wisdom knows all this, okay? She's not the fool. She has all of this in her field, right? So if you have wisdom, you see how one thing connects to the other, to the other, to the other, and you understand yourself as the integral part of that. And you understand that everything you do affects the all. You understand that every decision you make, every thought you think. Then we can hit on the tone and the ring of truth and wisdom, because they walk hand in hand. They walk hand in hand. They're not separate from each other. You know, so I'm so, you know, I want to be right there with Mary Beth and those grandmothers, and in a way I am, because every day, you know, when I get together with our ladies and we're all over the world, we drum. Mm-hmm. Okay, we drum. And when you start drumming, you don't even have to have a drum. You can hear a drum, okay? It's in a way, it's such a resonant wake up.
I'm right here.
So, you know, I don't want to make this big, oh, beautiful. I go get my drum right now. You know, drum, Radagast, drum. Beautiful. That is the heartbeat of humanity.
That drum was handmade by Shelley.
My salute, Shelley.
who is now in Hawaii, and she just yesterday got her doctorate in natural medicine.
Awesome. Go, lady, go. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I have, my drum was handmade by Lori Thompson, Spirit Wind. And, you know, she sent it to me. You know, see, here's the thing, people. None of us have financial well-being, but we have well-being. We are well-beings, you know, so we support each other. Lori, bless her heart. Okay. You know, she gets down every month with no money, right? Mm-hmm. And somehow Spirit told her to send Christine the drum. You know, somehow she got the money together and sent it to me. You know, you see, this is when, and you know what happens when we listen to that spiritual thing? It's not about money. It's not about money.
This was gifted to me.
It's beautiful. Exactly. It's a gorgeous piece. Wow.
And the beater.
Yeah.
I mean, wood, wrapped work.
Beautiful.
I mean, this was all handmade and then given to me.
Those are the hands of God.
Yes.
I mean, the one that strums the guitar, the one that is creative. All right. We don't have to be slaves. We have to bring it up into our creative juices right now. I mean, I am enraptured, okay, within the field of creation. It's another way to put it. That field is never going to spit me out. All right? It's not. You know, but these controllers, these empty, soulless beings, which are all the politicians on the planet, all right? It doesn't fucking matter. I mean, Trump's Hillary's fall guy. He's right there, so you'll vote for Hillary. You know, these are the things that we have to see through. You know, why would we give a vote to a soulless being? Any of them.
Yes.
Any of them. Any of them. You know, and it's just like, life is so beautiful. It is so awesome. You don't need televisions. You don't need football games. You don't need these things.
We need each other.
We need, oh, thank you for saying that. Maybe that's
we are the value. what really matters is good water, good community, good friends, love, clean skies, beautiful music. I mean, what really matters is each other and our relationships, and to cultivate the best we can have. And just realize that we are the value, and what these controllers would be lost without us. I even think that the whole Joseph Farrell spoke on a little bit, where this whole depopulation agenda, that's just because they're just trying. That's fear. There might be a few wackadoos, because there's always a few wackadoos who are not really in control, who think, oh, it'd be great if there was 90% of the people were gone. That's because they're completely disconnected of where the value comes from. The real controllers actually know where the value comes from.
Yeah.
And it's us.
Yeah.
So they're not getting rid of us. How it wouldn't work. I mean, really, seriously, who's going to grow the food? They would starve without us.
Well, you see, but here comes another very deep point on all of this, which is the fact is that it's a machine world, all right? The chemtrails, the fracking, the destruction of life, all right? It's because it doesn't need organic life. Why it's doing this is beyond me to be able to understand it. But I do, and I'm very in touch with the machine sound and how it is literally destroying us. Just look at the machines they have right now. The machines built for the machine, okay? They're
modern music, no matter what. I'm not even going to pick any genre. No. I mean, I recently, Katie Lang is a singer who I would hear her sing and I'd get goosebumps. I hadn't heard from her ever since she came out of the closet. Right. She lost her main audience, which is a country audience. So I hadn't heard anything from her. And I remember, all of a sudden I saw a video, Katie Lang. She was no longer distinct. She sounded like every other singer that you would hear, female singer on the radio. She had been rendered into Taco Bell coming out of a tube.
There you go.
I mean, this incredible talent. So even the great talent has been turned into the sound of a machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't want to make this really long right now, but what you said is we need each other, and at the same time, we need to find within ourselves the totality of what we are. It's an imploding field within us. And it's like, I just can't say enough how rich the simplest things in nature are compared to this machine. It's that emptiness that everybody's so locked into. And they're locked into past patterns, programs. It's for me, it's a tragedy. And that is really, why I'm speaking right now, because I wanted to stop speaking to the New Age audience completely, because this is like becoming incestuous. And then everybody else is exhibiting the same patterns, just like Katie Lang. I'm watching people that once had that spark, that fire burning them. And now they're empty, hollow voices because they've been taken over by Gaiam TV, or because, they didn't do their inner work. And so their shadow was the entry for points for the Archon. Let's call it the Archon, all right, the parasite, all right? And they're now becoming the hollow mouthpieces. And so speak up, people. Every single one of us that has a voice, that has a gift, that has a talent, right? Let's use it daily, relentlessly, not stopping us.
Well, here's the beauty. I mean, Mary Beth is a grandmother, and she takes care and drives to school her grandchildren 2 days a week, and then, has them at the house. She's now been away for 2 weeks. Her husband, who works nights. He gets up, he goes to work at midnight and works till 8 in the morning. He has now, for the last 2 weeks, taken up that slack without complaint. That is the sacred masculine. Okay. I mean, it's not like she'll come back and she wants that work. But while she had to go do something important, he supported her. And the interesting thing, she's in there for 2 weeks in a tent with her sister-in-law. No electricity. They now have some solar panels in the cooking tents. They eat 2 meals a day. Okay. Again, so there's no electricity. She's been in there for, using a porta potty, occasionally having to go different places, for hygiene. 2 weeks she's been under these conditions. And the fact that she's leaving tomorrow, she's almost heartbroken. She's leaving that to go back to the quote unquote comfort of her home.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote a post called, "I'd rather live in a yurt." All right. I'd rather live under the starry sky, the night sky with the earth underneath my feet than be boxed in, all right, to this world. And I'm looking for words right now. I often lack them to try to express the phenomena of what Mary Beth just experienced. All of us too, as a people, many of us are nomads, and all of that's been stopped too. Many of us are the feet that walk on this earth. We're the sacred beings of this planet. And all of that's being wiped out right now, And so I would like to walk to see you, per se,
Right.
But I got to show my fucking passport, right?
Right.
I have to fill out fucking papers to go see my friend.
And pay a gas company, at some level, whether it's the car to get to the airport, the jet fuel. Right. I mean, again, it's nice that we have these things, but we're so dependent on them. It'd be nice. The last year I was at Omega in my tent, I didn't have a car. I didn't leave the campus for 6 months. And I loved it. For 6 months, I never saw a policeman or a woman. For 6 months. And I was surrounded by community. I lived in my tent. Yes, I had electricity. And because I was close enough to a building, I was able to get some wireless. I slept on my nice queen size bed. I had, rugs on my floor, but I was in a tent underneath a big oak tree. And even though if I go outside this house now, I can hear the same insect sounds at night. I come back in, I can barely hear them. Where for 6 months, I was just in the edge of the forest with all of the cicadas and those night sounds and crickets, and surrounded 360-degree nature sound. And now I can go outside and hear it. The moment I come inside, I hear a little bit through the window. I miss my tent.
Well, leading some, this conversation with, often, and matter of fact, the first time I ever spoke, it was on what can one person do? A lot, right? And it takes one step.
You can know what matters. Most importantly, you can clear out your psychology, because this is where it's all happening. This is where they have us. They've gotten inside our heads where we don't even know what real value is. We don't understand that we're the value and that we need each other. I mean, to be back in the real rhythm of a community. I mean, again, people, there's people cooking in the kitchen from from when the sun comes up to the sun goes down. And some people cook, some people eat, but everybody has something. Some people split wood. Some people tend to fire, people go into sweat lodges. I mean, there is a hum of interactive community, not people passing each other in cars.
Mm-hmm. And, see, this is the aspect of it is like the one start that one can make, you're locked in. Okay. You see this, you feel it. No living human organic being on the planet is not picking this up. Every single one is, but you've been anesthetized. And the only way to get out of that anesthesia is to start walking. Okay. I mean, really, it's a true walk. It's like walk to the corner store instead of your car. Reach out your hand, talk to somebody on the street, lean over, pet a dog. All right. We're in an abundant field of reciprocity. It's just like, let go of all of this stuff that you think you need, that you think was going to make you happy, and it never did. And you just keep buying it because you think it's going to make you happy, but it never has. Wake up, so one step at a time, Radagast. I mean, really, one person that walks out makes a difference. One person that buys a local instead of buying from the chains of grocery stores. One person that understands the slaughter of the horror of what is being done to animals on the planet says, I'm going to be a vegetarian. I'm going to grow my own little pot of food. It doesn't have to be grand.
Right.
It just doesn't have to be. So,
almost anybody I know who ever grows anything in the garden has to give some of it away.
yes. You know, even now, I just read the other day, like microbes in the soil when it's alive actually have a property that take away depression. I mean, you know, we are connected. We are of this earth. Our bodies are of this earth. She has everything on it here for us. Let's start honoring that. And in honoring that, honor ourselves. Because it all starts with me, the self. I have to honor this being, this holy vessel that I, spirit, am inhabiting right now. You know, and these are, my words are just a reflection of the words of sages of the ages, just as Radagast are. We're not saying anything new.
No.
Not at all.
No, we're trying to reclaim what was once known and how people lived. Sylvia on New Earth, you know, she speaks of the survivors and the parasite culture. And I mean, just the art alone, when you look at the art and the, I mean, we had a much better past. History is lying to us that
fuck yeah.
this state that we're currently in is probably only a couple 100 years, 400 years old the most.
Well,
we lived much freer and much happier for most of history.
Yeah.
And
other than the freaking wars, you know, but you know, that's a whole nother aspect of this whole thing too, that we don't need to go into right now. But it's true. If you have a garden, you spend a couple beautiful hours at diets in your garden, right? If you're cooking a meal, what does it take? You know, so people have this idea that, oh, it's all convenience, you know? I can go to the grocery store and buy my pre-packed meal and I can run home and I can eat it really fast and then I can go back to work. Slavery.
Well, even in survivor culture, they had it before the parasites. They had their own wars, but very often the king was out there, the nobles, the landowners, the people who were actually part of the elite. The elite fought the other elite on the battlefield.
You know, this is something.
It was the parasites that started riling up the peasants to go fight wars with people that they had no beef with.
Right. Well, you see, you know, this is where the mind has to expand also beyond the New Age invasion and the thought forms, right? Because if we really look at it, somebody said, you know, yes, all war is bad. Killing is not where we want to be. We're going to move out of this. But if you look past, there was what would be called honor in war.
Yes.
There was honor. Okay. When you took the life of somebody else, you had to honor that being. Okay, you
were battlefields.
And you knew.
They went to meet in battlefields. They didn't destroy the villages.
No. And
that was a parasitic thing.
Exactly. And, you know, in our consciousness back, you know, we knew that by taking the life of another, that was something that was coming back to us too. You know, it's full circle here. It's full circle. It doesn't stop, right? And yet what happened, and then when treaties were made or agreements were made, we gave our word. Our word was law. Our word was law. We didn't need statues and authorities and all of these false things, call it the parasite, okay, the machine, all right? It has, the bureaucracy is such a state right now, like you called it a web, okay? It's a snare. It snares everybody. Don't think that you're not in that snare, people. Right?
Going to a doctor is to step onto that spider's web.
Sure.
I mean, at least in the Western world where they're going to do records and they're going to try to identify an illness. And then especially if it's a grave illness, then you're targeted. And if you go and do anything on your own volition, they could get involved. I mean, just going for a checkup is to step on at least one strand of a spider's web. And there's a spider waiting to suck the life out of you, the money out of you.
It's got you. And the first thing that a doctor's visit will give you, fear. First thing. it gives you is fear. You wouldn't be there if you were in fear.
And food is your medicine, and psychology, clean psychic hygiene is one of the biggest parts of health, because actually eating bad food, purchasing bad food is a psychological thing. It starts, people who are not skewed psychologically wouldn't eat garbage. So you can really see that the health of the body starts with health in the head.
I like when you moved it from psychology into psychic. You know, when you're in tune with your thought patterns, you're in tune with your psychic brainwaves, right? You're aware what your thoughts are creating. Because it's not just psychology. Psychology is the science of studying the psyche.
Yes.
So when you become tuned to yourself and your own psychic nature, and then what starts to happen when you are more in tune with that, you're more self-generated, your psychic abilities increase. That means that you're psychically further extended into the morphogenic field here. You actually become that white blood cell or that healing agent just by your own psyche. It's not even magic. When you start to understand it, you really understand what's going on here. So, you know, it's up to each individual. There is no authority outside. I am no authority to say anything to anybody. None. Zero. All right? You, the people, become your own authority. And realize that even when you're not making a decision, you're making a decision.
And check your decisions with your heart. And if you need to get a little deeper, go into your gut. The decision isn't just a matter of cognition. The heart is the real wisdom, and the gut has its own wisdom too.
I'm going to bring up something, and then maybe I could talk to you, I know, for hours and hours. When most people think that here is the center of their being, right? When most people focus in the brain, it's not here. It's a complex, and I find that it's actually right here at the solar plexus. It's an energy generating center. You could call it the solar plexus, is where this inner sun resides in us. Mm-hmm. And when we start to activate that center, then we're starting to become a self-generated being. If you're up here in the head, you're also primed to mind control, the takeover of the pineal gland, all of these things. Now you can have blasting insights through the brain. I mean, they can blast you, but the being is right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
ETs are often, they're very much up here. How much humor do you hear from ETs? The proper human being, we are meant to be sages, which is part of wisdom, part of Sophia, the Greek word for wisdom. We have a gift for the galaxy and for all the races. Many of them don't know how to laugh. We know how to laugh in the face of death. You think that there aren't races all over this galaxy that wouldn't like to know how to do that?
Right.
We own that. That's why they're all here. That's why some of them have even thrown in their genetics. It's like, if they go, we get quantumly entangled.
Okay, so we have sorrow and we have joy. They're the same thing. They really are. So take the sorrow, all right, convert it to joy. Take the fear, convert it to love. It's really what we have to be doing right now. There's no other way. It's so damn simple. So I love you so much, Radagast. It was like such a surprise. I just walked in the door. I'm like, okay, I'm going to call him.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. May this reverberate. It's not even our words. It's the energy that we're generating here. May it reverberate across this cyberspace into these artificially created lines. Because at the right harmonic, at the right vibration, we start converting all of these negatives to positives. And that's what we're here for. So I'm, bam, right there.
Coming into coherence and into bliss.
Yep, exactly. We could go on forever. I'm going to stop the recording now.
All right.
I hope we do this again.
Okay.
Okay.
myself and in the car. They've got all these pretty big vehicles here and all of that. So if for some reason you don't hear back from me within the hour, you can assume maybe things didn't go so well, but I'll call you as soon as we get back in the car, okay?
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be saying prayers for you so that,
Thank you, Radagast.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
What's that about the jail?
Well, one of the grandmothers was arrested today.
Oh my God. Okay.
And she's there to try and get her out. I mean, 2 days ago, she was in the emergency room because she's in frail health.
And they arrested her?
Yeah.
For what?
For being on private property, probably.
Okay, I just recorded that call, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, arresting a grandmother trying to, who's brave enough to stand up to these goons for our water, for all of us, and she gets arrested.
Okay.
Let me tell you, there's we call it the criminal justice system.
Yeah, the illegal criminal system.
That's because it's run by criminals.
Yeah, it's a criminal legal.
It's one of those in-your-face kind of things that they're not really telling. They're telling you what it is. It's a criminal justice system.
Oh God, I don't even, and they do have us so locked down, with getting the word out. And, I'm so frustrated with Facebook. I am so frustrated with it because, all I want to do is get conversation going. Because you always said, I want to join the conversation.
Right.
Let's have a conversation, people.
Yes.
Right? And we're just passing information from one to each other to each other, right? And we're showing pictures of people doing things.
Right.
There are people, I'm not putting everybody down because there are people doing a lot of stuff on Facebook, and sharing it. But let's put this together, this little video clip, and we'll end it again, and I'll put this on the end of it. And I'm going to hook onto it, the call that somebody else recorded on a cell phone from Standing Rock today.
Okay.
It'll show how the police are treating these people and how much peace they have in them, how much love they have in them, how much care they have in them. And I want to leave one personal message right now. Mom, Dad, your mandate coming into this world was to leave it a better place for me. You failed. Okay? You failed. Just admit it. I don't hold it against you. I love you dearly. I know exactly how it happened. I love you. All right? But if you don't stand with me right now for my daughter and my granddaughter, there's not going to be a world for me to leave them. And I will fight to my last breath. I don't even fight. I stand.
Right.
Stand in truth. Thank you.
Thank you.